Welcome to JustMen, a life-changing program that resonates hope as well as encouragement. The program that gives you information and inspiration for the glory of God. I'm your host, Jeff Tate, and thank you for joining JustMen. On today's program, we have a very special guest. This is the first time he's been on JustMen. Please welcome JayHurt. Brother Hurt, welcome to JustMen.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh man, it's a tremendous blessing for you to be on our program. And I tell you, man, you add value to our program. And we're just thankful that you're here. And we got a lot to talk about. So let's hit the ground running.
Okay, let's
do
it.
So let's open up a little bit and talk and share a little bit about who is JayHurt.
So I am a relationship coach, an author. I also blog for several websites besides my own, including blackandmarriedwithkids.com and paulcbrunson.com. So stepping back to my authorship, I've written a book called The 9 Tenets of a Successful Relationship for Singles. It has several tips and thoughts about how to navigate through relationships and how to deal with some of the challenges that we have with relationships, all the way from dealing with how to honor and respect our ladies to talking about dating through our relationships and several other topics like that a lot of men don't get the opportunity to talk about and to look through in the media that we have today. So I wanted to touch on those topics for singles and for men.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I know that's a good segue to talk about just the introduction of who you are as the man, particularly where did this come from? I know the origins of your book in terms of relationships, but also what did you see modeled as growing up as a young man in terms of your ideal of a relationship and how maybe that had to be changed as a result of just your everyday experiences. Talk a little bit behind the scene of that part of your life and developing up to the book.
So I saw challenges growing up in relationships. I saw lots of households with single parent families where the mother was the breadwinner, the mother was the protector and the provider, and the father wasn't there. And so I saw a lot of broken homes where people are growing up and they don't have the skills to build a truly successful relationship. They don't have I heard a young lady say more is caught than taught. So they don't have the examples in the household to really build on those things and really have a model to take those steps forward. So what I've done is I used not only what I've learned through coaching different people, what I've learned through going through several classes about this and getting certified as a coach, but putting all those things together and being able to kind of bring it into one book where we could talk about, okay, here are 9 things, and if you look at these 9 things, these are things that will enhance your life. They will be motivational. They'll change the way you think. They'll change your mindset. So that's kind of how I got to this point. I'm going to step back and be a little more specific. There was a time when I was in a relationship and I came out of that relationship really broken, and I was really hurt, and I was going to God trying to get His strength and trying to get His wisdom. So instead of leading me to another relationship or another woman, what He did was He brought several women in my life in the sense that He brought many other broken people looking for answers. So we started talking about those type of things. We talked about, so how do we deal with dating, and how do we deal with dealing with men with children, and how do we deal with, do we live together before marriage, all that type of stuff. So I started delving for the answers. I started delving for the answers in the Word. I started delving for the answers in my taking different classes, that type of thing. So I had to expand my limited bandwidth and my limited mindset, change the way that I look at things, and then started to find strength in helping people look at things a certain way so they could go forward and they could have better relationships. So that's really where my growth and where my my sense of purpose has come from in growing to help people with their relationships.
Wow, that's beautiful. Is there a tenet, when we start talking about 9 tenets, is there a foundational tenet to relationships that you care to talk about and putting them on the pathway to a successful relationship?
So the foundational tenet, I think, to relationships is actually the 9th tenet in my book, and that tenet is love, honor, and respect. We all have an idea of what love is, and I think we all have an idea of what respect is, and those are things we can definitely expound on, but I often go to the honor. I think that we lack honor in our relationships. We don't hold people to the level or to the esteem that they deserve in our lives. For example, I know a gentleman, actually let me say it this way. I know a couple who has been together for, gosh, 12, 14 years, something along that line. And it's always, everything they say about each other is negative. They're moving forward, they're kind of getting by, but everything they say about each other is negative. There's no honor in that relationship. They're not fulfilled, they're not happy, they're always looking for ways out when they have conversations. I want them to look for how do they fulfill themselves and how do they put honor into their marriage. So I feel, and I know that you and I have discussed this, I feel that women should be held to a very high standard in relationships. A lot of what we see on television